Hey guys, our goal today is that you know how to use the graphing calculator to plot a scatter plot, find the correlation coefficient, and then finally how to interpret that correlation coefficient. So let's get going. What I want you to do is go ahead and split your screen so you have my video on one side and your graphing calculator on the other, because I'm going to be giving you directions right now on how to use that graphing calculator. First things first, you're going to open up your graphing calculator. So mine was open. I don't know where it went there. We'll reopen it here. There's my graphing calculator. You guys all have one in your Chromebook, or you have your own handheld one to use. Okay, we need to set up our graphing calculator right now to work for regression. What we want to do is we want to hit second 0, okay? When we hit second 0, so you just hit second 0, we're at our catalog. What we want is we want our diagnostics on, okay? So what I'm going to do right now is see this X to the -1 button. I'm going to hit that, and that's going to get me to all of my D's. I'm going to scroll down now, and I see diagnostic on right here. So I'm going to hit enter, and then I need to hit enter one more time. This is a very important step, or you will not be able to figure out what your correlation coefficient is with your graphing calculator, and you need to know how to do that for this class. Okay, so first things first is we have this story. So there are these people that went on this big backpacking trip, and what they did is they measured their body weight and how much they wanted to see if there's a relationship with how much you could carry with your backpack. Just thinking, I'm sure maybe they were thinking like, you know, muscle weighs a lot, so the more muscle you have, maybe the more backpack you can carry. So this comes from our book. So what we're going to do right now is we want to enter this, and I'm going to actually split my screen here. Whoopsie, sorry guys. So my screen is split. We're going to enter this data into our calculator. So we need to go to stat right now. You should be on that screen. We're going to hit enter on edit. And you can see I have numbers in my list. So I have numbers in my list 1 right here. And I have numbers in my list 2 right here. I need to clear that out. So this is a very important step. People oftentimes miss this. You want to go up to L1. So you see how it's highlighted here, and I want to hit clear and then enter. And then I'm going to go over to L2, up and highlight it, hit clear, and then enter. Now what I want to do is I want to enter my explanatory variable in my L1 and my response variable in my L2. So I'm thinking in this problem, you know, the more we weigh, the more muscle we have. That's going to influence how much we can carry. Now, this isn't true for everyone. This is just a data set that we have. So I know some of you could poke holes in this argument, but for now, this is the data set that we have. So let's run with it. So we're going to enter. So now you can see where my cursor is, or where it's highlighted. I'm going to hit 120. Whoops. Already I made a mistake there. 120. And I'm going to hit enter each time. 187, enter, 109, enter, 103, enter, 131, enter. So you're hopefully doing this with me right now. 158 and 116. Okay, now I need my response variable, that backpack weight over in L2. So I'm going to do that now. I have 26, hit enter, 30, hit enter, 26, hit enter, 24, hit enter, 29, hit enter, 35, hit enter, 31, whoops, hit enter, 28, hit enter. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to just double check to make sure that I've done this right, okay? So, you know, it just takes 2 seconds to double check that everything's okay. Go ahead and do that, and that's really, really important because, you know, if you don't enter something in right, you're going to get the wrong answer. So just take 2 seconds to just double check it out. So 120, 26, 187, 30, 109, 26, 103, 24, 130, 129, 165, 35, 158, 31, 116, 28. Okay, so I'm okay. So just to remind you, what we're doing right now is I'm showing you how to use the graphing calculator to plot the relationship. So that's what we're going to do next. We're going to hit second y equals. Okay, so second is right here, y equals. This is our stat plot. We're going to hit enter on plot 1. You should see this screen. I'm going to go down. This should be on, so make sure you hit enter on. And now we're going to our type. The first one we see, that is our scatter plot. So we're going to hit enter. Your X list should read L1. My Y list says residual. We don't want that. I had that from AP Stats. I'm going to hit second 2 to get that L2. To get my response variable is on the my explanatory variables on my x-axis. My response variable is on my y-axis. And now what I'm going to do is I'm going to hit zoom. 9, that's my zoom stat feature. We've practiced that part together before. And you can see my scatter plot. And what's really nice for me is I can just drag that over here and make this bigger. Okay. So now it says describe. So that is our suds, you guys. Our shape. Can we call this linear or is it curved? I think we can go ahead and say that that is linear. We have about half the points above, half the points below. These first ones are kind of hovering around there, which is not too bad. And these last ones are a little bit further away from the line. Okay, so linear. Is there anything unexpected? I wouldn't say that these two are crazy unexpected. I would say if I had a point like over here or a point over here, that would be considered unexpected, or even a point way out here, that would be considered unexpected. So in this case, we're gonna say not available or nothing unexpected. And again, you guys, this is our suds shape. Anything unexpected, direction and strength that we learned in the last lesson. Okay, the direction, we remember we read this left to right, and that is going into a positive direction. And then the strength, okay? I wouldn't say this is super strong, but it is not, you know, weak either. These points are kind of hovering around the line. And then so these two are really the only ones that are kind of further from the line. So I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to call this strong. Okay. And we're going to have a better way to describe that here in a second. Okay. So what should you feel somewhat comfortable with? Maybe you haven't mastered it, is how to use that graphing calculator right now. Okay. Okay. So next, what we want to do is we actually want to see what will happen, right, if we do have something that is unexpected. So it says, what if the person weighing 187 pounds was recorded wrong and that person actually weighs 147 pounds? How would this change things? Okay, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to split my screen again. Oops. Okay, and I'm going to go to my stat right now. I'm going to hit enter on edit. And remember, the person weighing 187 was recorded wrong and they actually weigh 147. So I need to change this number right here to 147. Now we want to look at that scatter plot again. So I'm going to go to second y equals. Again, second y equals. I'm going to hit enter on plot 1. Everything's all set to go for me. And now I'm going to hit zoom and 9. That's my zoom stat feature there. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to pull this over here so we can look at the differences. Oops, give me a second. Okay, so now it looks like, you guys, if I would draw a line through this, it looks like this all of a sudden got stronger. Our relationship is even stronger. Why? You can see we don't have so many, the points are hovering around that line a little bit more. We don't have that big distance from this point to the line or this point to the line. They're all hovering around the line just a little bit more. So how did this change it? The strength got even stronger. Okay. So what is our purpose in doing that? Well, on anything like unexpected points. So they were saying that 187 one was right here, I think. They were saying that that was an unexpected point. To me, it didn't look like it based on how I drew my line. That's what they were saying. So it doesn't matter. What matters is that you have to understand that unexpected points or potential unexpected points or potential outliers can change the strength of a relationship, okay? The strength, you guys, The strength can be affected by certain points, making it either stronger or not as strong, okay? What if instead of putting this as body weight in pounds and backpack weight in pounds, what if I changed it to kilograms? Would that change the relationship? What do you think? Hopefully you're thinking, no. Changing units does not affect the relationship, the strength of the relationship. Ever, guys, okay? All right, the next thing what we want to do is we want to find something called the correlation coefficient. And what the correlation coefficient is the correlation coefficient gives us a number, okay, to quantify how strong something is in the direction of the linear relationship, okay? Only for linear relationships. Let me show you how to find the correlation coefficient first, and then we'll talk about what does it mean. Okay, so what we have right now is we have our relationship and we're gonna leave it as is right now. I'm gonna go to Stat and I'm gonna go over to Calculate. And I have this number 8 button right here, ln reg A plus Bx. This is our standard textbook regression analysis that they use for the graphing calculator. There is a number 4 up here, but we're gonna just stay consistent with the textbook and we're gonna use number 8, okay? My X list, that's my explanatory variable, that's L1. My Y list is L2. I'm not gonna worry about these things right here. I'm just gonna go down to Calculate. Again, what I'm doing right now is I'm finding something called the correlation coefficient. How did I get there? I had my L1 and L2 in my list. I went over to Stat, I went over to Calc, and I went down to number 8. I'm now going to go down and I'm going to hit Calculate. Now, if you have an older calculator, you're not going to see this. Just hit Enter one more time. So I'm going to pull this over. That's my fanciness, which I like, you guys. And let me talk about what the correlation coefficient is with you, okay? Oh, and now it's not letting me scroll down. I'm not sure why, so we'll just go right here. The correlation is always the R. R is equal to 0.94, okay? That's that right there. So when you're asked to find the correlation coefficient, that's how you do it. Make sure you have your data in L1 and L2, and then you just go to Calc or Stat, arrow over to Calc and down to number 8, just like we did. The nice thing about the video is you can rewind and watch that over again. Well, now that we have that correlation coefficient, what is that correlation coefficient? So let's talk about that here right now. Spoiler alert, give me 1 second. Okay, what the correlation coefficient tells us is it tells us 2 things. It tells us the direction of a relationship and the strength of the relationship. And I should add of a linear relationship. This only works for linear relationships. Okay, so how do we interpret that? Here's what I have. Let's write it down first and then let's discuss it. R equals 0.94 tells us there's a very strong, positive linear relationship between body weight and backpack weight, okay? So let's underline some things because this is what I call a fill in the blank kind of interpretation to get it right on a test, right? R equals 0.94. I'm going to fill in the blank there. That's where you put what you got from your calculator. Tells us there is a very strong, this is the strength because it talks about the strength of the relationship. I should have a comma here. Positive, this is the direction of the relationship, okay? Linear relationship, so this is what we fill in. How strong was it? What direction was it? Linear relationship between body weight and backpack weight. This was my explanatory variable, what I plotted on the x-axis, and here's my response variable, what I plotted on the y-axis, okay? So I have a very strong, positive linear relationship between body weight and backpack weight. You can use this sentence frame every single time when you're asked to interpret the correlation coefficient. Now it's really easy to know what to put in for the direction. This one right here is the direction, so I'll put direction here. If it's a positive number, it's a positive relationship. If it's a negative number, you would put a negative relationship here. But how do I know if something is very strong or not? So this is the strength. What I have down here is I have a number line. What you need to know is your correlation coefficient goes anywhere from -1 to 1. It is not affected by changing units, and it does not have a unit itself. It's always between -1 and 1, okay? And what we have here is just a number line to help you decide, how am I going to describe it? Okay, how am I going to describe it? So I'm going to look and I'm going to say, well, where does my correlation fall? So let's say we had a correlation coefficient of -0.47. -0.47 is right here. So what we would say for the strength is we have a moderate negative linear relationship. Or if I had a correlation coefficient of 0.3, 0.3 is right here, or 0.3 is right here, excuse me, we would have a moderate positive linear relationship. A correlation coefficient of 0.1 would be right here. That would be a weak positive linear relationship between body weight and backpack weight. So this number line right here is very, very important to help you know how to fill in the strength and the direction if you do need that. Okay, I am done for the day. What should you have learned from this? How to use that graphing calculator, how to calculate that correlation coefficient, to know that, hey, unexpected points can affect the strength of a relationship, okay? As well as how to interpret that correlation coefficient, and that it describes that direction and that strength, and that's very nice. It gives us a clearer picture on how to describe it as well. Okay, guys, you guys have a great day, and I'm so glad you could join me today.